So, chat. Earlier today, I was cooking, and I turned on a live stream of the news, specifically of Donald Trump addressing the nation, because today he was slated to have a gigantic revelation about autism. And so I turned it on, and I've listened to maybe 10, 15 minutes of it, and I can tell you, this is maybe... I mean, it's hilarious. It's objectively hilarious. Unfortunately, there are some negative ramifications and implications being made here, and it's really bad, but like also in just the most like bumbling, buffoonish way imaginable. It's hard not to laugh. And I thought, you know what? Let's all watch this together, because it's genuinely... I don't think I've ever seen Donald Trump's brain quite this broken before. It's really, really apparent that this man is losing his ability to just like think and articulate himself. And let's just take a look. You know, let's see. Does his performance bear that out? I think so. Here y'all go. Oh, were they not ready to come out?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. So I've been waiting for this meeting for 20 years, actually. And it's not that everything's 100% understood or known, but I think we've made a lot of strides.
You know, you're in for a good time when even this dipshit opens up a speech by saying, you know, I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about, but you know, we're gonna say it anyway. We don't have the facts, but you know, we're gonna fire from the hip and see how it works out.
I wish it was done a long time ago. Today, we're delighted to be joined by America's top medical and public health professionals as we announce historic steps to confront the crisis of autism.
Yeah, we're joined by the top medical officials. You know, Dr. Oz, the best doctor in all the land.
Horrible, horrible crisis.
Oh, it's going to piss you off a lot, Gila Monster.
Man who brought this issue to the forefront of American politics along with me. And we actually met in my office. Is it like 20 years ago, Bobby? It's probably 20 years ago in New York. I was a developer, as you probably heard, and I always had very strong feelings about autism.
Okay, you know, I know it's not a big deal, but like, what the hell is happening with RFK Jr.'s suit? This man comes from like a rich political dynasty. Why does your suit fit so badly, man? Like it bulges out. You can see like it doesn't even like meet his back. No, that's not just you. It's really bad. And like I'm used to looking at bad suits from these people, but like, dude, you're a Kennedy, man. You're a Kennedy.
And how it happened and where it came from. And
well, that's the thing. The reason I bring up Kennedy's suit is because Trump's suit actually looks like it fits him better, and in comparison to Kennedy's suit. And that's saying something. And I know it's not really that important. I just find it funny.
He and I don't know, the word got out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it, we think.
What has ever gone wrong by trusting someone who's named Oz that claims to have miraculous abilities?
No, exactly, Sake Tanuki. The doctor behind the curtain. Can we replay this quotation? Because it really summarizes the entirety of the Trump administration. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated.
We understood a lot more than we're very understanding of out, and I wouldn't say that people were very understanding of where we were, but it's turning out that we understood a lot more than a lot of people who studied it, we think. And I say...
Turned out, we understood it a lot more than people who had studied it, we think is like one of the funniest line deliveries of all time. Just like, yeah, look, we're a bunch of morons, but we understand this thing better than a lot of experts who have actually studied it. You know, in our opinion, we understand more than they do. Like, you could not write a dumber guy if you tried. You couldn't write like a more narcissistic dumb guy if you sat down and bent your entire will into writing that line of dialogue.
We think because I don't think they were really letting the public know what they knew. Thanks as well to the...
Again, just offhandedly, yeah, you know, the experts weren't letting the public know what they knew. So the experts did understand it. They were just hiding the truth from you.
Jack, they're all out here desperately trying to prove that they collectively have less brains than RFK Jr.'s uncle.
Oh, shit, Rondo. Thank you for the $5 dono. I appreciate it, and the burn.
Director of the National Institute of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary. These are great people. Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz.
God.
And Acting Assistant Secretary of HHS, Dr. Dorothy Fink. So thank you all. Thank you, Dorothy, very much. The meteoric rise in autism is among the most alarming public health developments in history. There's never been anything like this. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000...
Pretty soon, the entire population of the United States will be enthralled by mass transit. We cannot allow this to transpire. Soon, they will all be watching trains go by in rapturous glee, and society will cease to function. Truly, it will be the end times for all of us. We cannot allow this future to pass.
And children had autism. So that's... not a long time, and I've always heard, you know, they say a few, but I think it's a lot less time than that. It used to be 1 in 20.
I say a few, but I think a lot less time than that. It's just like, again, dude's brain is cooked, dog. And, you know, I know I'm gonna have to say this a lot during this segment, but like, yeah, there's a meteoric rise in autism diagnosis because people started diagnosing autism. You know, like the same way, like, I don't know, disease diagnoses like ticked up when we realized that it wasn't just like spirits possessing bodies and was like, in fact, germs. Yeah, it turned out we figured out a lot more ways to diagnose illnesses after that, after we came up with germ theory. Is there a point to this press conference or what? You know, there is... but, like, it's all stupid. It's all fucking stupid.
20,000, then 1 in 10,000, and I would say that's probably 18 years ago. And now it's 1 in 31, but in some areas it's much worse than that, if you can believe it. 1 in 31. And I gave numbers yesterday. For boys, it's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem.
When it comes to RFK's uncle's intelligence, these three don't know Jack.
None of them know me, it's true. I just... like, it's so lazy, and he's so tired, and he's just like, yeah, there's just more autism in California. For some reason, I don't know. Anyway, like, it's just throwing out, like, wild, crazy shit. Non-stop.
But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys, 1 in 31 overall. So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%.
The entire framing of this indicates or is trying to frame it as if like autism is like a contagious illness, like, oh no, people are autistic. Oh no, there's no cure. It's so hopeless for them. And like...
in the 90s, we didn't even know there were exoplanets. Now we know of thousands. Therefore, COVID caused exoplanets.
Yeah, have you caught autism recently, chat? Any of you? it spreads through the air. Maybe, honestly, if we started telling conservatives that, maybe they would start masking up during airborne illnesses, Just like, I don't know. Like, at this point, maybe in the next health emergency, we just tell them that. Because it seems like the only thing that they genuinely seem to be afraid of when it comes to, like, health is autism, and it's all of their fears are based on bullshit anyway.
I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. You three are absolute idiots.
Wait, did you actually know Jack Kennedy? If so, that's cool. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. But like these chuckle nuts are like it gets so much worse, chat. It gets so much worse.
Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this
It's a reference to the debate. I've never actually watched that debate.
Situation. And the first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then
the implication he's making is just that, like, oh, it's spreading and soon we will all have it. And that's just not how this works.
Go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism.
Jesus Christ.
Autism was created in a lab, notters.
No, that's what he's saying, Jazz Dog. That's literally what he's saying. He's saying that, like, the societies where they don't take pills or vaccines have no autism. That's what he's saying. It's so fucking stupid.
That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently. Is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest, with the Amish.
By the way, I'm a little unsure of myself on this one, boys. They don't have autism, right? When they aren't taking the medicine or the vaccines. That's correct, and that's correct. Yes. And like RFK Jr. is just like, well, there are some studies that may indicate.
For example,
the Amish, virtually. I heard none. So Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should.
Well, I mean, if he heard it, chat. If he heard it, then clearly it's true that the Amish don't have autism. I trust him. This is, it's well-founded science here. Do Amish people get tested for autism? Not often, no. I would assume not.
Something Amish about this speech.
But I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have.
Just rolls right through the fact that nobody backed up on that one.
We have a bunch of great scientists working in our beautiful labs to develop an even better autism. America will finally have super autism before anyone else.
That's right. And then you'll all be able to watch trains and have an unhealthy obsession with some niche pop culture. You'll be able to have both. No longer will you be shackled to just one special interest. All of your interests will be special.
Have essentially no autism. First, effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen.
He can't even say acetaminophen, dog. He doesn't, he knows so little about what he's talking about. He can't say the medicine he's trying to demonize, man. It's so stupid. It's all. I want to hear him do it again. It's just really funny.
Say that. Well, let's see how we say that. That the use of well, let's see.
Our administration is full of special needs because we're a very special administration and we have needs.
I mean, this man has some very special needs when it comes to pronunciation.
How we say that. That the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
Is that okay?
This was all live, Jazz Dog.
Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
A very increased
So taking
risk.
Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommended that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless
asterisk, eat o men o fun.
Ass eat o men o fun. Indeed, Sake Tanuki. You understand his attempts at speech. Thank you for translating.
Necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever.
Also, he's been waiting for this press conference for 20 years. Can't pronounce acetaminophen. Okay.
That you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly.
So let's get this straight. Let's get this straight, okay? He's holding a press conference to tell people, right, that they have a miraculous breakthrough when it comes to autism. And it is that, if you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. Don't take acetaminophen. Tough it out. Well, if you can't tough it out, like, take one Tylenol. It's some of the most, like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Also, just as an FYI, I forget. But basically, the national, like, conglomeration of, like, pharmacists and doctors or whatever put out a statement being like, no, there's literally no evidence that shows that Tylenol is bad for you if you are, pregnant. Like, obviously use in moderation, but, like, you can, in fact, take Tylenol if you're pregnant. There isn't an association between Tylenol and autism. It gets so much stupider.
Can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child a Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol.
Who's doing that? Who's giving a child a Tylenol every time they get a shot at the doctor? What are you talking about? Donald Trump, ultimate pregnancy understander. The very first pregnant man.
All to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it. The other thing that I can tell you that I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And
that thing you can't do because the longer you wait to vaccinate your child, the more likely it becomes that they are going to contract one of those illnesses, which is why they do all of them at once. Again, just the anti-vax shit being demonstrated on the national level, and they're like, oh, don't take them all at once because that would be bad, but space them out over the course of like 4 years. But it's like you need to give these to a child so they don't die from the illnesses, man.
Is he thinking of Robitussin?
I think this man might be thinking of Robotussi. Like I think his brain is cooked.
Pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad. They're pumping. It looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess.
Where are the
What?
citations? I've managed peer-reviewed medical journals.
Oh,
This is reckless public health advice.
oh, Ralph DeMarco, there are no citations. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. And I'll talk about some of the citations for some of the things that he's going to be talking about coming up, but like, dude's like sitting there talking about how they're pumping children full of drugs like horses. Like, what? What the fuck, man? We used to be like a real country. Just trust me, guy. Also, Sake Tanoki, thank you for the 2 subs. Bob, thank you for the $2 super chat. It keeps going, man.
80 different blends, and they pump it in. So ideally, a woman won't take Tylenol. And on the vaccines, it would be good instead of one visit where they pump the baby, load it up with stuff.
Stop saying pump the
you'll
baby.
do it over a period of 4 times or 5 times.
Conception
I've been
starts
so
at the
into this
autism.
issue for so many years just because I couldn't understand how a thing like this could happen.
Thank
And
you
you
for
know
the
it's
$5
artificially
dono.
induced. It's not like something that when you go from all of those, healthy babies to a point where I don't even know structurally if a country can afford it. And that's the least of the problems. To have families destroyed over this is just so terrible.
Also, again, the framing of autistic people destroy families is pretty gross. You know, like as somebody who's on the spectrum, that's pretty gross.
Pumping so much stuff into those beautiful babies, like they're pumping into a horse, is a phrase that should never be used by someone who's been to Epstein's.
It really shouldn't be used by Epstein's best friend, of a decade. People should tell him to watch his mouth, because it is... I'm not gonna lie, my mind went there earlier today. My mind made that connection. And now I see I'm not the only one. Yuck.
I also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want
Mercury hasn't been in
Coming from the
vaccines
most
for
autistic
ages.
president known to mankind, he really hates autism. I don't understand their hatred of neurodiversity. Are they so stupid to confuse it with diversity?
It's because they make a connection. It's because they like to fearmonger to their base, and it's easy to fearmonger about neurodivergence to a bunch of people who don't know what neurodivergence is, or who even disagree with the concept of neurodivergence. Like, these are people who genuinely would be open to the idea that, like, autism is caused by ghosts. Too many ghosts in your house. Like, these are people who are anti-science, and, like, they kind of revel in it.
no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel.
Again, okay, so you're giving a press conference off of facts or what you feel, man? Because, like, you're not a doctor. You have no medical expertise whatsoever. And, like, why do we give a fuck based on what you feel, man?
Mumps, measles, and all the 3 should be taken separately.
Just here.
And feel the MR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel. The mumps, measles, and all the 3 should be taken separately. And it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them.
The actual doctors sent a bunch of things to Trump and Kennedy to trick them into toning it down. Like how artists dodge censors.
I think this is all fucked. I gotta be honest. Like, they have no evidence for any of this whatsoever, but it gets so much worse. You guys are gonna get so mad as I continue to talk about this, because it's not just they're dumb, though that is a part of it. It's also that they are hopelessly corrupt. That is also a huge factor in all of this.
Separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate. the chicken pox is already separate, because when that got mixed in...
It is nefarious. I'm not saying it's not. I just mean, like, they are dumb and they're doing a grift.
I guess they made it for a while. It really was bad. So they make chicken pox. Individually, they're okay. When you mix them, something maybe happens. So there's no downside.
Something maybe happens. Why are we listening to you, man? Why did you call a press conference to talk about what maybe, or what I think you should do? Like, this is like, I don't know, like a waiter at an Italian eatery trying to tell you how to perform veterinary surgery on a whale. Like, what are you contributing to the conversation?
In doing it. It's not like, if you do it, bad things. No, it's only good side. And it may not have that much of an impact, but it may have a big impact. So let those be taken separately. And then hepatitis B.
The separate MMR vaccine thing comes from Hugh Fundenberg, the wacko who tried to sell his own bone marrow as medicine.
Yeah, like all of these people, like even, what's his face? Andrew Wakefield? Andrew Wakefield was working for people who were trying to encourage people to take separate vaccines in order to profit their company. Like, that's what started all of this anti-vax bullshit and associations with autism. Like, what Andrew Wakefield was just trying to grift into getting people to take more vaccines. And it's the same fucking shit, but it's coming from the President of the United States. It's crazy. And it doesn't surprise me that the MMR vaccine is from a very similar kind of wacko. Also, thank you for the $5 super chat, Moth. Brutus Magazine, thank you for the $2 super chat.
Is sexually transmitted. There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just...
I'm really sorry. What?
Hepatitis B is sexually transmitted.
Oh, he finally got to a part of this that he knows about.
There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B.
Well, unless they are at risk of contracting it from their mother or, like, come on, dude.
So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old and formed and take hepatitis B.
Yes, the 12-year-old baby. You know, sometimes people grow up to be like 80 or 79-year-old babies. It's true.
And I think if you do those things, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to be a revolution in a positive sense in the country. The FDA will be updating the label of an existing drug to reflect potential benefits in reducing some autism symptoms. This gives hope to the many parents with autistic children that it may be possible to improve their lives. That's one of the things that I'm very, very happy about. I mean, this was mostly going to be on how not to have the child affected, but we've learned some pretty good things about certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better.
Certain elements of genius that can be given to a baby, and the baby can get better. And boys, gals, and non-binary pals, oh boy, when we get there.
And in some cases, maybe substantially better. Not going to be easy, but be a lot easier if it didn't happen in the first place, as these great parents fully understand, right? They fully understand. I feel so terribly for... I have so many friends with autistic children. It's a tough situation.
Oh man, it's such a burden. They're so smart and they had an innate love of public transit and, you know, obsessions with cool and interesting topics that you would never have figured out on your own. Oh no, the horror.
Finally, to help reach the ultimate goal of ending the autism fever, the NIH will be announcing 13 major grant awards from the Autism Data Science Initiatives. And to be honest with you, to me, that's the least important. It's not even a money thing at this point. There's so much.
My question is, what exactly do they think autism is? They think autism is basically like a worse than death. They think of it as like a living death for the people they have it, and that's why they focus and so much on the parents of autistic people, because they don't want to think of autistic people as adults or as like, yeah, a lot. I mean, some people will think of like Rain Man as like a quintessential autistic person, but overall they think of autistic children and like, oh no, heaven forbid your children have emotional responses to things, you know? And they think it's the worst thing in the world.
A genius is a ghost in Roman religion. We have to haunt the children.
Jack is right. Parents of autistic children are literal demons on earth when they talk about their children. The parents view themselves as superheroes for not publicly executing their child. I mean, like, kinda, yeah. Like, you'll see a mom speak later here, and I want you to pay attention to how she talks about her child. It's crazy.
Money, but they have to do, and they have to move quickly. They when the alternative is that nothing bad can happen, let's do it now. I was just saying to Bobby and the group, let's do it now. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that.
Just don't. Unless you have to, and then you take a little bit, just a little bit.
We love the autistic children. They're always making works of art.
It's true. We support art in this community. Socket Dinner, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs.
Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are...
What could you, first question, what can you take instead? There's nothing you could take instead. So you just have a little bit. You just have a little bit. Nothing bad can happen. Only good can happen.
Absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask Bobby to get up to the podium and say a few words.
Just
and then
say
Dr.
no,
Bhattacharya,
pregnant women,
Dr.
to
McCarry,
Tylenol.
Dr. Oz, Dr. Fink, follow.
When pregnant women, when you're walking out of that convenience store and someone sidles up to you, is like, hey, want to have a Tylenol? You just look at them and you say, no, I don't know you. That's my purse. And then you walk away.
By 2 incredible mothers that have experienced firsthand what this country is going through, what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol.
There's a rumor going around, you know, the scuttlebutt at Mar-a-Lago. You know, that we're all, you know, I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. It's not like I have an intelligence agency in order to figure these things out for me. It's not like
we're making a new low-dose children's pain med, now with natural lead.
The lead helps the children eat it. It makes it sweet and palatable to them. You know, when Mary Poppins was singing about a spoonful of sugar, she didn't really consider that it's cheaper to sweeten the medicine with lead. You know, Mary Poppins, terrible businesswoman. Just a spoonful of lead helps the medicine go down in the most delightful way. But like, he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I heard someone on a street corner somewhere talk about how the country of Cuba can't afford Tylenol. And it's just like, are you sure about that? It's one of the most mass-produced drugs on the planet. It's not expensive. It is not an expensive drug. They literally have one of the most educated medical forces on the planet. I'm pretty sure they can get their hands on some Tylenol, man. But you know, some guy told me, so it must be true. No guys would ever lie to me, folks.
And they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about...
Also, Cuba has autistic people. They have Tylenol and they have autism. They have all the modern conveniences.
That one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say...
No, it doesn't actually. Because the reason you're saying they don't have autism is just they don't don't have people there diagnosing folks with autism. It's not on their radar.
Right now, and the way I look at it, don't take it. Don't take it. There's no
pregnant
downside
women
in not taking it.
Listen to Donald Trump, folks. He understands a woman's womb. He understands his way around him. Look. He's learned a lot about the ladies in his time, folks, and about the girls. But we're not supposed to talk about that. We're not supposed to talk about the Epstein files.
So I'd like to ask Bobby to come up and say a few words. I hope I didn't ruin his day, but that's the way I feel. I've been very strong on the subject for a long time. Life is common sense, too. And there's a lot of common sense in this, and I wish things like this were brought up. And this group has worked so hard on it, but I'd like to be a little bit more, a little speedier in the process of a recommendation, because there's no harm in going quicker. There's absolutely no harm. At worst,
I hear
there's no harm.
cocaine is
Thank
pretty
you very much,
cheap,
Bobby.
and we know it work.
Ladies, if you're ever feeling a fever and you're feeling like you need to go lay down, have you considered boogieing on down? You can't take Tylenol, but you can take cocaine. I, Donald Trump, have made cocaine cheaper than it's ever been, so that all you fine ladies can boogie on down.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. To meet the President's challenge, I ordered HHS to launch an unprecedented all-agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend. We have broken down the traditional silos that have long separated these agencies, and we have fast-tracked research and guidance. Historically, NIH has focused almost solely on politically safe and entirely fruitless research about the genetic drivers of autism. And that would be like studying the genetic drivers of lung cancer without looking at cigarettes. And that's what
Well, I'm pretty sure people were researching both. I would say it's good to research what causes people to be more genetically inclined to get cancer. I don't think that's a fruitless endeavor. And also, people were already looking into environmental factors too. This isn't, every anti-vax numbskull always puts out a statement like, oh man, what if, they didn't even think about this aspect before researching it. It's like, I guarantee you they did. It's like a comment that I saw on a video today, because you know what? Just slight tangent. Scientists created the first visually perceptible time crystal, which is just really cool. Because crystals traditionally are, a repeating pattern in space, but a time crystal is a repeating pattern in time as well. And they created one that you can see visually, which is really neat. It's really, really interesting. It has a lot of different ramifications for how we create technology, and specifically with timekeeping, but also with a lot of other things like data storage. But people leave comments like, "Oh, but did the researchers consider gravity?" And it's like, did the physicists with 30 to 40 to 60 years of experience between them consider one of the foundational forces of the universe? Yeah, I think so. I think that might have been one of the first things they thought about, actually. Did you just say a perceptible time crystal? Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can see it underneath a microscope, but you have to use a microscope. But still, that's huge, because last time we checked in on time crystal research, they had just managed to create one on an anatomic level, not anatomic, atomic level. There you go. It's super cool.
We used to research so many aspects of autism at the National Institutes of Health. I wonder why we don't anymore.
Indeed. Because knowing things is antithetical to, being Donald Trump. Can't be Donald Trump and do things. I know it doesn't really look like much, but this is cool as hell. Also, shout out to Anton Petrov, excellent science communicator. Just like cool as hell. That right there, folks, is a goddamn time crystal. The time cube is real. Tell that guy, chat.
NIH has been doing for 20 years. As a result, we don't have an answer.
But people, just the physicists didn't check gravity first. The scientists didn't check the environmental factors of autism.
Answer to this critical question, despite the cataclysmic impact of the epidemic on our nation's children, we are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams are currently testing multiple hypotheses with no area off limits. We promise transparency as we uncover the potential causes and treatments, and we will notify the public regularly of our progress. Today, we are announcing 2 important findings from our autism work that are vital for parents to know as they make these decisions. First, HHS will act on acetaminophen. The FDA is responding to clinical and laboratory studies.
Finally, the government will keep us safe from acetaminophen, the scourge of our times. That's right, folks. You heard about the fentanyl crisis, but have you heard about the acetaminophen crisis? It's in every home. They've gotten it into the country by every store corner in this country, every convenience store, every gas station, every single building in America has acetaminophen inside of it. It's probably what's fueling the Ratman.
It suggests,
if in case you don't understand that joke, that's a reference to Curtis Sliwa, Ratman killer, the the Riverboat Jack extended universe character.
Potential association between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, including later diagnosis for ADHD and autism. Scientists have proposed biological mechanisms linking prenatal acetaminophen exposure to altered brain development. We have also evaluated the contrary studies that show no association. Today, the FDA will issue a physician's notice about the risk of acetaminophen during pregnancy and begin the process to initiate a safety label change. HHS will launch a nationwide public service campaign to inform.
That's why we had ICE round up the Hyundai workers. They were making the Aceto minivan.
The most powerful form of it yet. Able to traverse the entirety of America, spreading acetaminophen as it goes. I'm having flashbacks to 1982 when the poison Tylenol scare dominated the news. It is, yeah, that is wild that happened. But also, so they're calling a press conference to basically say acetaminophen is the silent killer that is coming for you. And also it's causing autism, and also, we're going to put out a public notice about it and issue new guidance across the country. And
ibuprofen is a pharma code word for the Fent agenda. Pro, as in for Fent.
Oh shit, Jazz Dog just cracked the code. Savage X Fenty, the bra covered in fentanyl.
Form families and protect public health. FDA also recognized that acetaminophen is often the only tool for fevers and pain in pregnancy, as other alternatives have well-documented adverse effects. HHS wants, therefore, to encourage clinicians to exercise their best judgment.
So, it's not even like we're gonna ban everyone from having acetaminophen. It's more like we're gonna add a new thing onto the warning label that no one reads on Tylenol. We're going to tell your doctors that, maybe advise you not to take Tylenol when you're pregnant. But, if you have to, I guess you can. It kind of seems like maybe this isn't all that revolutionary or dangerous that you didn't need to do an entire press conference for this. But, you know, like, I'm happy to laugh at it, I guess.
And the use of acetaminophen for fevers and pain in pregnancy by prescribing the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration and only when treatment is required.
That's right, ladies. You're going to have to stop popping 20 Tylenol a day, okay? You're gonna have to control that Tylenol problem of yours.
Furthermore, thanks to the politicization of science, the safety of acetaminophen against the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in young children has never been validated. Prudent medicine, therefore, suggests caution in acetaminophen use by young children, especially since strong evidence also has associated it with liver toxicity. Some studies...
Yeah, but, you know, that's true of, like, all over-the-counter painkillers, essentially. Like, yeah, if you have too much ibuprofen, it can damage your liver. Yeah, if you have too much of any, like, over-the-counter pain medicine, it can fuck you up. Yes. This isn't new information. All of that medicine gets filtered through livers. That's how livers work. Yeah, you know what's... Ralph DeMarco, exactly. You know what's way more damaging for livers? Alcohol. But we're not going to talk about that. No, sir. Because I don't think we actually are caring all that much about the health of livers in this country.
Have also found the use of acetaminophen in children can potentially prolong viral illnesses. FDA will drive new research to safeguard mothers.
This is Andrew Wakefield level BS.
Oh, it really is, but it's also, like, from people who don't have enough understanding to even follow Andrew Wakefield's argument on the anti-vax side. Like, these people are just cooked. They're gone. Brecco, awesome. Stella, you made an edit of this conference. Do you want to see it? Yeah, maybe after it's over. Several studies included in the Prada et al. 2025 Systemic Review are not considered high quality and have at least one, if not several, of the following limitations. They rely on self-reported acetaminophen use with considerable potential for recall bias or biased reporting of events or experiences due to inaccurate or incomplete recounting. They include limited or no information on dosage and duration of the acetaminophen exposure. They feature a number of different kinds of assessment. Yeah, no, it makes, like, that is a recurring part, and we're going to get to this later on as well, but these studies that they reference to try and back up their position are extraordinarily fucking bad, in the sense that they are done with small sample sizes. One of the studies, by the way, that they use to that they're going to talk about later had, like, it was a case study. So it was a study consisting of one case, and the other one is a study of 12 cases. It's hopelessly terrible science. It is irresponsible to the extreme.
Children and families. In addition to a possible acetaminophen connection to autism for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers, our research has revealed that folate deficiency in a child's brain can lead to autism. We have also identified an exciting therapy that may benefit large numbers of children who suffer from autism. Peer-reviewed literature has documented that up to 60% of folate-deficient children with ASD can have improved verbal communications if given lucavorin.
Now, this is interesting, right? Like, oh, a cure for autism, everyone. Incredible. Wow, what crazy news. But wait a minute. Why did he have to qualify that as folate deficient children with ASD? Why did he have to qualify it like that? What does this lucavorin do? Oh wait, lucavorin is essentially a folic acid supplement. Oh, so basically in people who have a folic acid deficiency, taking a folic acid supplement solves that problem. So it doesn't really seem like it's curing the autism so much as solving the folic acid deficiency. And, I'm just going to throw this up here as well as we continue through this. But, guys, you'll never believe it, because this was all arrived at with very clear and real science. Here's just an interesting blurb from, about a month into the Trump administration. I don't know if you guys remember this at all, but they published this article. Dr. Oz, Trump's Medicare nominee, pledges to sell health stocks. So he's not going to be, like tied down to any kind of like financial interests. He's going to be able to, think clear-headedly and never let money cloud his judgment on what is healthiest for Americans, right? He would never do anything like that. Let's just take a look here. Just scrolling this down. Here we go. Dr. Oz, 64, also indicated in the filings that he would retain a financial interest in an entity called iHerb, Oz Partners LLC, created in 2023 when he became the company's pitchman. What the entity does is unknown, and so is whether it has separate ownership stake in iHerb. And, just gonna throw something out there. iHerb, I know you guys won't believe this. They actually sell folinic acid. And if you're like, wait, that sounds really similar to folic acid deficiency, that's because folinic acid is the generic name of the drug lucavorin. So basically, Dr. Oz is putting out medical advice telling people that the cure for autism is essentially this medication that you conveniently can get the generic version of from his company. This should be one of like the most, like, they're just going right out in front of the country and saying it. He's like on screen as this is all being announced. It's genuinely, like, he's just standing right there, guys. He's basically watching these two men hand him, like, an ungodly amount of money. There's no shame. And when we talk about the fact that, like, whenever the left gets back into power, one of our demands needs to be for justice and accountability, we need to remember these clowns. Because this isn't just like, yeah, it's funny, but also, like, they're stealing money from vulnerable people by using their positions of power and authority. This is theft. This is a scam. And this is like just another day in the Trump administration, Like, it's disgusting. And there needs to be justice and accountability before we can move on as a country, because otherwise, these grifters and hucksters and thieves are just going to try it again. Like, they're just going to do it again if, like, Democrats are too weak to prosecute these motherfuckers. And, it's deeply frustrating. But I think a lot of people, as like people in this country, we need to start really considering what it means that this is so widespread and the mechanisms that will need to be put in place in order to right our sinking ship. The number of people that will need to be brought to account for their crimes is astronomical. But I think that only means that we need to do it more, and we need to make sure that the kinds of lies and the kinds of abuse of power that they participated in can never be repeated. What if there's no election in 2028? Then we're going to be having a very different question in front of us. And I'm not going to deal with that until that's the question in front of us. But until that happens, I'm going to keep operating under the assumption that we are going to have those elections, and it behooves us to act as if they are going to happen, because that makes the cancellation of them less likely. And if they do cancel it, we will have organized our communities sufficiently in order to push back.
I have instructed NIH, FDA, and CMS to help doctors treat children appropriately. Jay will help tell that story, which started with sound science, the kind that restores faith in government. This announcement also represents a historic collaboration between NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS. We expect this to be the first of many announcements over the coming years that deliver actionable information to parents on underlying cause of autism and the potential paths for prevention and reversal. Finally, autism is a complex disorder with multifactorial etiology. We are continuing to investigate a multiplicity of potential causes with no areas of taboo. One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70%.
Yeah, no. Understand that when they're talking about reversal, they think that essentially this lucavorin, or at least they are putting out there that lucavorin can cure autism, that it can cure how autistic brains function, which is not the case, actually. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. I looked at some of the studies around lucavorin, and again, it's one case study, one person, and another study of 12 people. And again, the findings of those studies, limited as they are, just kind of indicate that if you have a folic acid deficiency, taking a supplement to help with that deficiency cures that deficiency, and you overall benefit from that. Yeah, if you have a vitamin or a mineral deficiency and you take care of that, you're going to see an improvement. That's how bodies work. The body of evidence is so small, and even if you granted that their findings were 100% accurate, it just indicates, it doesn't indicate any interaction with autism. It just interacts with the deficiency of within a like your organism, your body. It's if you're vitamin D deficient, you start taking vitamin D supplements, you're gonna feel better. This isn't new.
Percent of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be
Sorry, how many women?
As the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism.
That is a really big window. 40 to 70% is a big window. So, which is it? Is it 40%? Is it 70%? Which is it?
Believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be listening to these mothers instead of gaslighting and marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say,
well, some people believe that the body's health is governed by the four humors. Why are you marginalizing them? Some people don't believe in germ theory. Why are you marginalizing them? Magic Rick, who comes around every other weekday with his tonics, promising to cure what ails you. Why are you marginalizing him and his customers?
We should believe all women. Some of these same people have been
Yeah, his snake oil is top tier.
And demonizing these mothers for 3 decades. Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccines has been actively suppressed in the past. It will take time for an honest look at this topic by scientists. But I want to reassure the people in the autism community that we will be uncompromising and relentless in our search for answers. We will perform the studies that should have been performed 25 years ago. Whatever the answer is, we will tell you what we find. We are researching this issue to all 3 agencies. Jay will discuss one of our research initiatives.
Yeah, can we just back up real quick? Because that was some real bullshit.
Marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say that we should believe all women. Some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades.
Hey, let's take a time out on that one real quick.
Even Jeff here thinks that employing children as masseuses cures billionaire boredom.
It's true. It's true. I don't know about Mehmet Oz, but RFK Jr. and Donald Trump both hung out with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. It is disgusting that we just don't talk about it, but I'm gonna bring it up every goddamn time. Release the Epstein file. But also, to go out and to say, oh, our friends like to say believe all women. Well, they aren't believing these women. And it's like, yeah, because believe all women is related to like when women claim that they've been sexually assaulted. It's as a general rule of thumb, it is good to believe them because statistically they are not lying. They are telling the truth, you know? And also, it's especially galling to hear this come from RFK Jr., someone who sexually assaulted his family's nanny and then publicly apologized during the campaign season last year, and it just wasn't even a story. It wasn't even a story, but he did it like a decade ago, or 2 decades ago, 15 years ago, something like that. And then he has the gall to stand up there and like say like, oh, yeah, believe all women. You guys, but you don't believe these women. But like, there's a big difference between believing a woman who claims that she has been sexually assaulted and believing someone who's trying to tell you something that is not backed up by science. Like, yeah, I'm going to believe a woman who shares with me that she's been sexually assaulted. I'm going to believe generally a man who tells me that they've been sexually assaulted, or a non-binary person. But I'm not going to believe someone when they tell me that a crystal is going to like heal my chakras and cure my cancer. Because these are just two categorically different things to believe. Like, they are categorically different. And so, like, the equation of these two things is just disgusting on its face, but also disgusting the deeper you dig into it. Because these are disgusting individuals who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. And that should tell you quite enough about them and the content of their characters. Like, I'm sorry, RFK Jr., you can't tell me guy who admitted and apologized for sexually assaulting his nanny, you were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and, like, you didn't know what was going on? Uh-huh. All right.
Because research on the potential link between autism and vaccine.
Believe women who claim they've been sexually assaulted, unless they claim it was by us, as children.
No, exactly. That is exactly their argument. It's exactly what galls me so much about RFK Jr. bringing this up at this particular moment. God. Sake, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Yeah, no, RFK Jr. wrote like a letter. He wrote down that he was sorry for like sexually assaulting his family's nanny. Like, and frankly, y'all, not enough of us give him shit for like just the insane bullshit he's done. Dude tried to frame bicycles for killing a bear cub after he killed the bear cub. He went to a beach and sawed off the head of a whale with his family and then tied it to the roof of their car while it was leaking its bodily fluids all over the car. And because it was tied to the roof of the car with the windows open, those fluids were getting in the car. And his children screamed and cried in the back seat the entire way home. One of his children wrote that in their memoir. What did the whale even do? It washed up on a beach, and he was just so excited to behead it and bring it home, because he's fucking crazy. Like, the fact that we just tolerate that this guy is in charge of all of our health? He's like not all there for real? No, like, people joke, but like, he literally had a worm in his brain that ate part of his brain. When we talk about the brain worms, he literally had those.
Has been
God forbid a man have hobbies.
In the past. It will take time for an honest look at this topic by scientists.
He's more worm now than man, twisted and evil.
Even by batshit Kennedy standards, he's still insane.
He really, really is. Speaking of batshit, maybe that's where he got the worm.
And I want to reassure the people.
Yeah, he is the prophet of Shai Hulud, it's true.
Romanian Christmas Party Fund, blue heart emoji, yellow heart emoji, red heart emoji, Christmas tree emoji,
hell yeah,
party popper emoji, raised fist emoji.
I know nothing about Romanian Christmas, but thank you for the $5 super chat. And I'm going to try and pronounce your name, your username, but I am going to fail. Kraujuoja? Tertingagi? I don't think I succeeded on that one, but thank you so goddamn much. Honestly, Romanian Christmas sounds fun. I know nothing about the traditions associated with it, but I don't know, just sounds fun.
The autism community, that we will be uncompromising and relentless in our search for answers. We will perform the studies that should have been performed 25 years ago. Whatever the answer is, we will tell you what we find. We are researching this issue to all three agencies. Jay will discuss one of our research initiatives at NIH. This model of unleashing unbiased, depoliticized, gold standard scientific research and academic freedom to deliver actionable information to prevent and reverse disease will be
Yeah, none of this is political at all. None of this is political at all, which is why we are having a press conference with the President of the United States.
Romania, the salad country.
It's where all the romaine comes from. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs, Sake. Lily Upstuff, thank you for the $5 dono.
My favorite thing that happened on Christmas in Romania is when Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife got.
I think that might be Romanian Christmas. Thank you for the $5 dono, Lily Love Stuff. Also, I know it's absolutely not important, but damn, his hand is looking rough. I don't know how it's been months now of people noticing the makeup on his hand, and they haven't gotten better makeup. What? Why not? Why can't you match the color of his hand? Look at that. He literally looks like a wax statue. Compare it to his face. They all hate him, probably. Yeah, all of the gay makeup artists have left. It's true.
Model for the framework to deliver similar results for many other chronic conditions that plague Americans. Jay?
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy, and thank you, President Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud to announce today that the NIH...
Every time I see him in a press conference like this, where he's trying to look good, that's why he's here. He's not even excited about this. He doesn't really give a shit about this. But in the back of my head, I think I can't get the line from a recent interview he did out of my head. Let me see if I can find it, if it's in a clip. Yeah, just from a couple weeks ago. I just keep thinking about this. Trump fears he won't get into heaven. Let's see. On Fox News, Trump expressed serious doubt he's going to get called up to the big leagues of life after death. Quote, "I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole." And it's just yeah.
This is why gays against groomers will never work. Do you want straight people doing your makeup and hair? This is what happens when you have straights do it.
It's true. Sake, your witticisms are great. But when I think of this quote, which also the New York Times quoting him and saying, "Holy Mother of God, what a thing to say at 8 o'clock in the morning." That's an all-time banger of a line right there. I've got a lot of problems with the New York Times, but this line right here, that's an all-timer. But I think of him suddenly out of nowhere, no context whatsoever, bringing up that he's worried that when he dies, he's not going to heaven, and then I see him pull a press conference like this. I think in his twisted way, he thinks this is doing good works that will help him get into heaven, and that's why he's prioritizing them, even as his health is clearly making him want to be anywhere else. Maybe he shouldn't have raped kids. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have been best friends with the world's #1 child sex trafficker, Maybe he shouldn't have been best friends with that man for 15 years.
Has launched the Autism Data Science Initiative to turbocharge autism research, devoting an additional $50 million
Turbocharged autism.
to the cause of studying autism.
And of course, in order to do this, we're going to build a maglev rail system across the entirety of the United States. Now, the maglev train will be turbocharged, and it will attract all of the autistic people, and we'll be able to collect their data. That is how this will work. They won't be able to help themselves, like moths to a flame of information.
Nearly 250 research teams from across the country applied, sent in their applications and were peer reviewed by the NIH review panels. The NIH peer reviewers chose the 13 best projects focused on root causes and therapies, with replication and validation studies to guarantee gold standard science. The studies feature a new kind of science called Exposomics, where scientists consider environmental and medical factors, nutrition, events during pregnancy, in combination with biology and genetics to answer vital questions about autism. Science like this, conducted in partnership with families and physicians, is the best way to arrest and reverse the autism epidemic. Autism spectrum disorder encompasses a very wide range of symptoms, ranging from mild difficulties with social interactions.
Exposomics. I want to know, is that real, or did they make it up
Asked
specifically
my
for
dad if I had
autism?
generic or over-the-counter autism. He told me I got it from the COVID vaccine.
Oh, no.
_CAC.
Oh no. Max Danger, thank you for the $5 super chat. No, not epidemic, exposomic.
To profoundly autistic children who experience severe disabilities in speech and behavior. Given this wide range of symptoms across the spectrum, it seems certain that there will be a wide range of biological contributors to explaining the cause. The great thing about the new NIH initiative on autism is that scientists will use rigorous advanced methods in causal inference, machine learning, organoids, and other fresh approaches to the problem. The sharp rise in...
I do know what an organoid is, and I have to wonder, how would an organoid actually help with autism? What are you gonna are you gonna have a second smaller brain absorb the autism? Like what? what are you gonna do with the organoids? Like, are we gonna do like a Vulcan mind meld with the organoid brain? I just patch it in, just like. There's you see with every autistic person, there's a brain, a small mini brain-sized hole inside of their skulls. We're simply going to slot the organoid brain into that hole, and it will solve all of their problems. Just Jesus Christ, it's so stupid.
The prevalence of autism deserves an urgent response by the scientific community. As Bobby said, the NIH has invested a lot of money to study autism over the years.
Wait, they want to patch them into brains to fix the breaks? Wait, do they actually want to do that? Is that actually their stupid plan? I was making a joke. To think of it the way a child would take a look at like the blocks, the differently shaped blocks that they put into the holes. Oh no. Oh no, they might actually want to do that. Oh fuck. Oh, not for autism, but for other brain issues? Okay, that's fine. But honestly, they probably also want to do it for autism.
But the research has not produced the answers that families and parents of autistic children deserve, and autistic children themselves deserve. For too long, it's been taboo to ask some questions for fear the scientific work might reveal a politically incorrect answer.
They're gonna bring back lobotomies. RFK saw a picture of his Aunt Rosemary and thought, gee, maybe that would fix the autism.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna bring back lobotomies. It's gonna be stupider than that somehow. Like, I don't know, Barron Trump's first business is gonna be like a lobotomy corporation, or like I don't know, like an iron lung, but for your skull corporation. It's gonna be something just fucking stupid to another level. You know what it's gonna be? You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be like one of those like headsets that they sell that like vibrates on different parts of your skull in order to like produce different like emotional effects or something. It's gonna be like some like dollar store cybernetics. Yeah.
This restricted focus in scientific investigations, the answers for families have been similarly restricted, often pointing families to behavioral therapies that don't work for every kid, or suggest non-modifiable genetic factors as the cause. But genetics alone can't explain such a sharp rise in autism prevalence over just a few decades, as the president said. In coming months and years, as NIH scientists learn more that can help autistic children and their families, we won't delay. Like scientists often like to do. I can say as a scientist myself, it's really tempting to delay, but you have to...
was a silly nickname for a lobotomy when they first popped off?
No. But thank you for the $5 dono. I just also like, oh yeah, as scientists, we want to delay. You mean you want to delay because you want to have accurate information? You know, as somebody whose entire job is getting accurate information, that should be maybe your number one goal. before you turn that into public policy, because of the implications.
You have to, but in face of a problem like this, you have to move fast. We will not delay before telling American people about what we find.
In the face of a problem like this, you have to move fast, because all of those autistic people, they're on trains, and they're going at a steady and efficient rate of pace, and we can't possibly hope to keep up unless we meet them at the train stations.
And we will win the public trust with transparency and rigor. Already, our broadened focus on autism research has pointed to 2 items that will help families prevent and treat some cases of autism. I'll leave the good news on these 2 items to my close friends and colleagues, Dr. McCary and Dr. Oz. We've been working together closely on this problem for the past 6 months, and our cooperation represents an unprecedented collaboration with Secretary Kennedy's Department of Health and Human Services and with President Trump. I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Marty McCary, Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration, who will tell you about these announcements of practical help for families with autism.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. Mr. President, this is the start of a historic shift in medical culture. This administration is working together to ask big questions about why our nation's children are getting sick so fast. Too often, medicine is doing small little studies, giving us answers we already knew.
I really hate these people. I really hate. Too often these studies are giving us bullshit that we don't need to know. Why do we need to know that the Earth is round? What is that? That doesn't help us. I mean, why do we need to know that we have DNA? That doesn't help us at all. We should be researching things that really matter, like whether or not Grigor, the colossal snake dragon that lives in the bottom of the ocean, will be rising to attack us all in the next week and a half. Personally, I'm very concerned about humanity's fate in the face of Grigor the sea snake, but why are we not doing research on him? I don't understand. All this pussyfooting around when we have to deal with a gigantic sea serpent that will cause so much destruction upon the land, as we have angered it with improper sacrifice.
But we've got to make a difference. You've given us a charge to identify root causes, and we're not going to stop so that we can end the suffering we are watching. And if you've seen a kid with autism, with severe autism, it's hard to watch.
I know. They play so much Fortnite. And they're so goddamn good at it. Oh my god, have you seen them build? The build speeds are approaching light. It's crazy.
Kids get frustrated, they get angry, they can be crying because they want to speak and they can't speak.
Yeah, kids being frustrated, crying. Children have no business feeling emotions or expressing them. How dare they?
It's hard to watch, and it may be entirely preventable. For an epidemiologist,
it may indeed be entirely preventable. Like, for example, getting them a different sweater fabric that isn't as itchy, or getting a different kind of light bulb that isn't piercing to the eyes. And but no, we couldn't possibly do those things. Those are a bridge too far. No, we have to spend trillions of dollars in order to figure out what we could solve with a softer sweater.
That child is an expanding statistic, but for a child, it can be brutal to have autism. Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks in pregnancy. We now have data we cannot...
Grigor Nitrushin here. I would like to state that I am legitimate European businessman and not a sea serpent. Thank you for your concern on this issue.
Paladin Lost, thank you for the 5 tier 1s. Grigor Nitrushin, thank you very much for the 5 tier 1 subs. And yes, you are a legitimate European businessman from a great state of Texas. And not a sea serpent. This is true. Grigor is not the serpent's official name. That was given upon its discovery in 1938. And ever since, we have been dealing with the ramifications of Grigor the sea serpent.
Not ignore. There's a very large study, the Boston birth cohort.
We need to never shut up about the fact it's been widely verified RFK rejects germ theory and believes in miasmia, which was debunked nearly 200 years ago. He should never get to live that down. It
honestly, Ivory Valentine, 100%. this dude would have died instantly in the face of like the cholera epidemics around the Broad Street pump. You know, like this dude doesn't actually think germs are real. And so like he would have been one of those guys at the time of the Broad Street pump incident going like, no, sewage in the water supply. Who cares? It's not the sewage in the water. It's the night vapors. The night vapors are coming in and poisoning the population. That is what they actually argued at the time, the miasmists. And he's just picking up where they left off, which is just a load of nonsense.
With researchers that have, from Johns Hopkins, my former institution, and Boston University, found quote-unquote consistent associations between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. And the Nurses' Health Study with researchers from Yale, Columbia, and Harvard looking at 9,000 kids found that acetaminophen use in pregnancy was associated with neurodevelopmental disorders. And 4 weeks ago... Again,
self-reported acetaminophen usage. No data on like dosage or anything like that. Just like did like pregnant mothers report taking acetaminophen at some point during their pregnancy.
A Mount Sinai Harvard study reviewed all the existing literature and found the overwhelming body of evidence points to an association. Sure, you'll be able to find a study to the contrary. That's how...
Sure. You'll be able to find some silver bullets that will slay the werewolf that we're building in front of your eyes, but, you know, don't pay attention to those. I'm sure those silver bullets are bullshit.
Science works. But to quote the dean of the Harvard School of...
Yeah, like, also, I can't believe these are the most influential and powerful people regarding public health in this country, and not a single goddamn one of them has heard the phrase correlation doesn't equal causation. You know, like, Donald Trump looks like he's either about to fall asleep or throttle this man until he dies, and it's hard to tell which one.
Public health. There is a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. We cannot wait any longer.
Are the links available? The links that they are proposing, they did not provide. Yeah, literally, yes. I was looking for this earlier, Paladin. Thank you for finding it for me. God, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists had to put this out after this. Suggestions that acetaminophen use in pregnancy causes autism are not only highly concerning to clinicians, but also irresponsible when considering the harmful and confusing message they send to pregnant patients, including those who may need to rely on this beneficial medicine during pregnancy. Today's announcement by HHS is not backed by the full body of scientific evidence and dangerously simplifies the many and complex causes of neurologic challenges in children. It is highly unsettling that our federal health agencies are willing to make an announcement that would affect the health and well-being of millions of people without the backing of reliable data, because they don't have that. Yeah, no, they're just lying. They're just lying or misrepresenting what they have. Source, I made it the fuck up. Indeed. In more than 2 decades of research on the use of acetaminophen in pregnancy, not a single reputable study has successfully concluded that the use of acetaminophen in any trimester of pregnancy causes neurodevelopmental disorders in children. In fact, the 2 highest quality studies on this subject, one of which was published in JAMA last year, found no significant associations between use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and children's risk of autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability. The studies that are frequently pointed to as evidence of a causal relationship, including the latest systematic review released in August, include the same methodological limitations, for example, lack of a control for confounding factors, or use of unreliable self-reported data that are prevalent in the majority of studies on this topic. Acetaminophen is one of the few options available to pregnant patients to treat pain and fever, which can be harmful to pregnant people when left untreated. Maternal fever, headaches as an early sign of preeclampsia, and pain are all managed with the therapeutic use of acetaminophen, making acetaminophen essential to people who need it. The conditions people use acetaminophen to treat during pregnancy are far more dangerous than any theoretical risks that can create severe morbidity and mortality for the pregnant person and the fetus. When considering the use of medication in pregnancy, it is important to consider all potential risks along with any benefits. The data from numerous studies have shown that acetaminophen plays an important and safe role in the well-being of pregnant women. So, like, I mean, they do not have any holds barred in that response.
And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless practice in medicine. I learned it in medical school and residency. Just treat all fevers, low-grade fevers, treat them with acetaminophen. Why? What are we doing?
Why? What are you doing? Like, you're treating a fever so that, you know, it doesn't become a high-grade fever and then your patient dies. Because you can tell if the fever continues getting higher under the effect of Tylenol, then it's good that you gave them Tylenol, a fever reducer, man. If somebody's in the hospital or someone's you're going to the doctor because you're so sick, yeah, you want that in there in case they get more sick.
A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because of fever.
Yeah, but also fevers can damage internal organs, especially in children. Yeah, the illness might be longer, but it's going to be less severe, and thus less harm to the child can happen. Like, you don't want the brain to start liquefying because the body got so hot, man.
There's a body's natural way of ridding an infection. When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely no. I'm also here to announce good news. Today, the FDA is filing a Federal Register notice to change the label on an exciting treatment called prescription lucavorin so that it can be available to children with autism. You know, autism may also be due to an autoimmune reaction to a folate receptor on the brain, not allowing that important vitamin to get into the brain cells. It's a fairly established, mature pathway. Again, we have a duty to let doctors and
Again, this is the whole folinic acid. In order to, like, this is like, they're like, oh yeah, you know, the folate receptors are blocked. That's why you need the folinic acid to go in there and clear out those receptors so that then they can take care of the folic acid deficiency and thus cure the autism. It's all just bullshit. It's all just bullshit. These are hucksters and charlatans. They just learn to dress in suits.
Public know we are going to change the label to make it available. Hundreds of thousands of kids, in my opinion, will benefit.
Yeah, no, and Paladin, like, Dr. Oz owns a folinic acid company. Like, it's just flim flam sham show, you know?
One study found that with kids with autism and chronic folate deficiency, 2/3 of kids with autism symptoms had improvement, and some marked improvement.
What is it? Tylenol or folic acid deficiency? It's apparent. It's both somehow.
President, you told us to do what's medically right, to go bold, and not worry about the corporations and the lobbyists. So that's what we're here doing today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Marty. I think you all appreciate the passion in the president's voice. We've been hearing that since the inauguration.
Oh.
In fact, even before
But depraved ambiance, you're all good. You all good? Don't worry. No Sag box.
Inauguration, the president was upset about what he spoke to today. And so together with Secretary Kennedy, who's made
the part of the reason they are so hyper fixated on autism is because we as a culture have still not reckoned with the legacy of scientific racism that was created and crafted in this country in order to justify slavery and like racial hierarchy. Like that over time morphed into eugenics, and eugenics has to this day a very strong hold on this country. And like you can see it in appeals to like IQ, you can see it in appeals to like how children are tested in schools. And essentially, like their fixation on curing autism is essentially because in a eugenics framework, they view autists as fundamentally broken and a threat to their system. They view autistic people as a problem to be solved rather than, fellow people to be respected and, with their needs met. It's just bullshit.
Life's work to address some of these challenges with autism. They challenged us. In fact, they were harsher than that. They wanted no silos to break down what the NIH would do, what the FDA would do, what CMS would do. They insisted that the physician leaders bust through the clutter because their agencies had the power if we didn't do what every other prior administration had done, which is to let people function within their siloed environments. Because of that, in historic fashion, in a very accelerated manner, we have a response today to the autism crisis. It is the first of several chapters, but this is breaking news. You've heard some of it. The response to the autism crisis is going to continue to come to you under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, and the president wouldn't have it any other way, as you've heard. The FDA, based on NIH research, is approving prescription lucavorin for treatment of autistic children. Now, if you're following the script, there should be two questions that you have, two questions that should come to your mind. The first is, how will patients and parents get access to the treatment? I'll tell you how. Over half of American children are covered by Medicaid and CHIP, government health insurance. Over half.
You all know one of the especially fucked up things about him bringing this up is that he's essentially saying, use Medicaid and CHIP in order to pay me for my folinic acid supplements to, cure your child's autism. This is I don't know. I don't think you can get more corrupt than this if you tried. This is so textbook, And they're doing this after defunding Medicaid by $1 trillion. It's crazy. It's crazy and just blatantly, on the face of it, evil.
And therefore, because they're covered in Medicaid and CHIP, upon this label change by Marty, state Medicaid programs in partnership with CMS will cover prescription lucavorin around the country. It's yours, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription because they know your child, they know you, and they know the medication.
Huh. Well, that's really interesting because, fun fact, if you don't want to get prescription lucavorin, you could just buy the generic version from Dr. Mehmet Oz. Huh, isn't that convenient? You wouldn't even need to go to the doctor. You could just buy it directly from him. Huh. Weird how that works out. Weird how he put extra emphasis on you need to go to a doctor and get a prescription for prescription lucavorin.
States will also have tools to monitor its use and ensure appropriate utilization.
These people should be in prison
for a bunch of reasons, because we want the right kids getting the right prescription medications. We believe private insurance companies will rapidly follow our lead if they have not already done so. And again, to make sure that this is safe and effective treatment, you need a physician to prescribe the medication because it's on prescription. Second big question. How are we going to collect clinical data to answer the big questions that the president is asking and the secretary insists that we offer? CMS is also issuing guidance to convene states and existing research networks to support NIH and FDA in their research efforts of prescription lucavorin, while also maintaining the privacy of all patients, all health information of our beneficiaries. Collecting real-world data, which is what many of you have been asking us to do in the community, is fast. It is life-saving, and we'll get answers based on what happens over the next few months with this approach. The aggressive approach, and it is aggressive, demanded by the president and by the secretary, have already identified risk factors and opened the door for the first FDA-recognized treatment pathway for autism. It is the first of its kind, and it wouldn't have happened without the leadership of the president and the secretary.
Wow. Donald Trump led us to a cure for autism, everybody. Wow. What a visionary. Oh my God, he's definitely getting into heaven now. There's no way. Look at him. He's cured it. It's insane. Oh God. What about autistic adults? Are they just gonna ignore that demographic? Jess Talks Books, yes, actually. Yes, because none of this is at all oriented toward autistic adults, because again, it's all a grift and they want to fearmonger about the possibility of children being autistic. And they want to treat that as if it is the worst thing that could possibly happen is that a children be on the spectrum, Of course they're not going to interact with like autistic people on the spectrum as adults who are living fully happy and productive and capable lives. Of course they're not going to like interact with like adults who, like the way that they are and have figured out how to live with themselves and navigate the world successfully. Like, they don't want to engage with the reality of autistic people. They just want to fabricate some other demographic to be scared of, or scared for, I guess.
Secretary. The fivefold increased prevalence of autism over the past 25 years demands a rapid response. The average clinician, researcher, we spoke to many, thought it would take 5 years to get this data. Parents are unwilling to wait 5 years. The president is unwilling to wait 5 years for these results. So the president and the secretary are acting today with this tri-agency move. The administration's bold actions investing in groundbreaking research follow the science. They restore trust, which has been lacking, and they will change the trajectory for millions of American families. Mr. President, God bless you for being brave. So let me introduce...
Mr. President, thank you for being brave. Only you would be brave enough to spew this much bullshit shamelessly.
Dr. Fink, who's acting administrator, and after Dr. Fink, we've got some wonderful women, Jackie and Amanda. I know it's going to be tough, but if you can make...
Literally one of the doctors on this panel is named Dr. Fink, and I feel like it couldn't possibly be more on the nose than that.
Some comments about this historic day. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to speak with all of you today. As a pediatrician and mom, I'm here today to talk about what this announcement means for the millions of moms and dads who are faced with the choice of whether to take acetaminophen during pregnancy. It's hard to hear information that challenges the status quo.
It's actually not hard to hear information that challenges the status quo, provided you have evidence to back up that information, right? Like, people are open to new information when there are facts and citations to back up that information. People are less open to information when you're just like, yeah, Grigor the Sea Serpent's gonna be coming tomorrow. He's gonna take away all his followers and lead them into the promised land beneath the oceans, He's gonna do that tomorrow. All the loyal followers of Grigor the Sea Serpent will be rewarded. But, you'll have to take that on faith, because I have no information further about Grigor the Sea Serpent, and no proof that he actually exists. Because you must have faith in him. But, if you actually have evidence that there's a gigantic sea serpent that's going to make landfall tomorrow, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
We are sharing this information not to confuse, but to empower parents to make the best choices when taking medications during pregnancy. We are all concerned about the rising rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are dedicated to radical transparency so that patients have the best, most up-to-date information. We are also sharing this information with our nation's doctors, and we encourage you, as always, to consult with your doctor to make the best decision for you.
Oh no, Yenzo, they are claiming that they have a cure for autism. They are claiming that there is no evidence for that whatsoever. The evidence that they present is that they have a cure for folic acid deficiency, which we've known that for a long time.
All too often, it's easy to think that medicines we buy without a prescription pose little to no risk for the mom or the baby. As you heard today, pregnant women who need high fever or pain reduction during pregnancy should take the lowest effective dose of acetaminophen for the shortest possible duration. Most women will not meet these indications during their pregnancies. I am encouraged by these developments today because it is another example of our commitment to the American people.
Yeah, dude, Trump is having trouble just
I thought
standing.
this administration was anti-trans transgender flag parents, see?
That's great wordplay, Sake. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. But, look at him.
To leave no...
He's
because
swaying.
It is another example of our commitment to the American people to leave no stone unturned in improving the health of our nation's children.
Look at him. He's like not doing okay. Yeah, RFK Jr. is standing fine. Oz is standing fine. Trump is just like swaying like he's on a deck. Oh, the right side of his lip is drooping.
Next, I'm going to turn it over to some incredible mothers who are going to share more about their stories, and we're so grateful.
Holy shit. He's drooping again. No, you're right. Like his mouth is drooping and he's having trouble standing.
To have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
That could just be his scowl. Nah, his scowl is usually symmetrical.
Mr. President and team, for all your work. This is an historic day, and I'm thankful to be here. I have a son who's 5 who is
another motivator
profoundly
for Trump.
autistic.
It is strongly suspected that his youngest son, Barron, is autistic.
I mean, maybe. I'm not going to speculate about that without evidence, but thank you for the $5 super chat. But like, this lady made me mad to listen to her.
This is an historic day, and I'm thankful to be here. I have a son who's 5 who is profoundly autistic. And you've probably heard, if you've met one autistic child, you've met one autistic child. It's a spectrum, which I don't think the spectrum is helpful, but that's another conversation.
Man, lady, already batting 1,000. There is no spectrum. There is only
Migratory
autism.
birds have gotten into the newly cheaper cocaine. We're now leaving no stone unturned and no turn unstoned.
This is actually how Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds started. They got into the cocaine, and that was all she wrote. But also, like, this lady is, like, when we say conservative parents who are anti-vax hate their autistic children, this is a perfect example of what we mean.
He is an amazing little boy, a blessing from God. He's marvelous. He can count to 1,000. He knows all of his letters.
He's an amazing little boy. He's truly a gift from God. So marvelous. You're not really convincing us on that, that you believe those things.
Watch his eyebrows. If his eyebrow is still able to move, then it's likely not a stroke. Someone check his grip strength.
Interesting, Lily Love stuff.
And the sounds they make and a word for each one. But he also has a lot of obstacles. He is nonverbal. He can say those numbers and letters, but there's no communication. Unless you've lived.
From the makers of Cocaine Bear, and the director of Crank 2, Very Knifey Duck is Cocaine Bird. Dropping into theaters this Christmas.
Paladin Lost, you have no idea how fast I would watch a movie called Cocaine Bird. I would watch the shit out of that movie. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like an emu that gets into like some cocaine down in Australia and just goes bananas. Like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. That could be really fun. Has a diamond in like a rucksack on its back and everyone's after the emu, but it's constantly high.
Get this man onto a skull boat. We'll figure if he can get a stroke.
With profound autism, you have no idea. You have no idea. He, like you said, he will get frustrated because he can't speak. It's not even that he can't speak. Sometimes he just doesn't understand what I'm saying. He understands the word no, but he doesn't understand the why behind the no. And that's a huge part of discipline. That's the discipline. So it's very hard to discipline a child with autism, so you have these behaviors. And it's very hopeless.
I mean, the fact that, like, it's very hard for me to punish my child because he's autistic is like, I don't know, you came to speak to the entire country about the fact that your child needs like special intervention and you can't just like, I don't know, like beat it into him. Like what? I don't know. Like there are plenty of autistic people who are nonverbal who can still communicate. Like being nonverbal doesn't mean a lack of communication. It just means that they're nonverbal. They don't use their words. They use gestures.
This feeling, it's very isolating being a parent with a profound autistic child. Even just taking them over to your friend's house is something we just don't do because, again, they're going to be met with no, and no understanding of why. And then there's a meltdown. And then you're in a situation where you're just helpless and you're just trying to protect your kid.
You know, like, what is the purpose? And I want to ask you, like, even if you're like, okay, you agree with everything she says. All right. What is the purpose of bringing a parent out versus someone who understands how to actually engage with an autistic child in this way. Because this is a mom, but she's not an expert on raising an autistic child or being able to effectively communicate with an autistic child. Clearly. Yeah, it is an attempt to pull the heartstrings of the country and lend weight to the absolute pile of dog shit that the men behind her and woman behind her all spread. It is intentionally to pull those strings, and it's very obviously so, because there are experts who spend their entire lives figuring out ways for parents to have healthy, productive relationships with their children who are autistic, even if they are nonverbal. There are people who spend their entire lives figuring that shit out, and it's deeply frustrating. She's being exploited. Yeah. Or, I don't know, maybe she's the head of some kind of anti-vax organization or something. I have no idea who this person is, but
So it's just better not to do it. You learn your limits, and it's been really hard.
Look at him just looming and weaving.
This is amazing that we're here today, and no one has been able to point to anything to say this is what caused it. And you can't point to that and say it didn't cause it. I have no idea. I'm completely open. I'm not blaming anything, but I'm open to the discussion and the fact that there's work being done to find answers. I'm very grateful.
I think, guys, I think he's having many strokes, The side of his face is just plunged. It's very weird.
Already excited to vote for Mr. Trump anyway, as president. But when we got word of RFK doing his work, I was ecstatic. I could not wait for this work to be done, that somebody would try to find us some answers. I'm just very grateful. I pray for my son every day, and I hope that he can get the help that he needs. And just thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donnie. You take care of yourself.
Hi, my name's Jackie. I'm also extremely grateful for the opportunity to be here and share my son's story. My son is Eddie. He's 11. He's on the opposite end of the spectrum from what Amanda just explained. He's considered high functioning. He was not always high functioning. He was nonverbal till the age 4. We've had quite a hard time to get to the place where we are today. I am just so grateful to President Trump and the entire administration for finally listening to moms who have been crying out for help, for answers for years. I've met so many other moms with children on the spectrum in the 9 years since my son's diagnosis, and they all have very similar stories, and they've all just wanted somebody to listen, to not ridicule them or look at them like they were the crazy people. It's hard when you don't have doctors that take the time to really listen and find out when the change happened and what change happened. And it's just, I've been praying for this day for 9 years, and I'm still...
In what way does this help you? You could buy folinic acid prior to this. You didn't even need a prescription to get it. In what way is this at all helpful to you, lady? My child's the opposite. He's actually very high functioning, so he's pretty great. But I'm just kind of what? Okay, then why are you here? Other than to stroke Donald Trump's ego, why are you here? I was diagnosed with autism somewhere in elementary school. Don't the masses know about autistic people more than when I grew up? What agenda do these opportunists have with this topic? Well, one, they want to make money. Dr. Oz literally has a company that sells the generic version of the medicine that he's saying is a cure for autism. Number 2, they want to pander to the base. Number 3, Donald Trump wants to be a good person so he can get into heaven because he's preoccupied with death. And number 4, it's just propaganda. It's a propaganda tool. It's them delivering on campaign promises, and that's it. It's cynical as hell. But it is also rooted in the fundamental belief that unites all of them, which is that eugenics is real and true. Donald Trump's dad was allegedly a member of the KKK. You know, like, Donald Trump has grown up believing eugenics his entire life. RFK Jr., similar story. They're both in the Epstein files. Hey, you want to know who else was obsessed with eugenics and spreading his seed of superior genes? A man named Jeffrey Epstein that they both knew and hung out with a lot. So, like, I don't know. There are a number of things that unite all these causes, but it's cynical as hell underneath all of it. Yeah, Elon Musk is, you know, he's just kicking himself that he wasn't able to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Thankful to God for bringing the administration into our lives, and I am just...
Welcome, Raiders.
I'm speechless. This day is a day I never thought would happen. I thought that we would never have an administration that was courageous enough to look into things that no prior administration had, so...
That's because the administration doesn't look into things. Scientists do. Scientists look into these topics, and the idea that, like, oh, well, just prior administrations didn't want to investigate whether or not the environment could have an effect on autism, like, no, they've investigated that. The idea that they haven't is just ludicrous, and it's not factual.
I'm just here to express my gratitude, and I am looking forward to what comes from this, and hopefully we just get more answers. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So I just want to say acetaminophen is basically Tylenol.
Don't worry, guys. Some gaps have been left, but our big, sweaty, swaying boy with terrible makeup on his hands, he's going to step in to correct the record because too many women have been talking, and you may have forgotten that, you know, acetaminophen is basically Tylenol.
Essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And
it's essentially.
I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group because they're waiting for certain studies. I just want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, it's just fight like hell not to take it.
Just, like, I don't know. He's just like, pregnant women, just say no. This is your brain on Tylenol. Honestly, that would be the funniest shit. If he just recreated the just say no, like, this is your brain on drugs, cracked egg thing, like, that would be funny as fuck. This is all so stupid and surreal.
There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself, so don't take Tylenol. Other things that we recommend, or certainly I do anyway, is...
Hey, Nancy. Why aren't you taking Tylenol? All the cool pregnant moms are taking it. Well, I don't really think I should. I knew it, Nancy. You just never were one of the cool moms. Wait a minute. Maybe I do want to try some Tylenol while I'm pregnant. That's right, Nancy. Do it. Take that Tylenol. It's so good. Don't take Tylenol. It will boil your baby's brain into autism. Don't take it. Just say no. Nancy grew up to be someone with 3 children, 2 of which had autism, which meant she spent a lot of time watching the same movies over and over and over again. Just say no.
And it's so important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into...
Jesus Christ, man. Phrasing. Stop talking about pumping babies.
The delicate little body of a baby, even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1. And certain things I think you should do. We've already...
They're still gonna... They're children. They're still gonna see the doctor like every year minimum, man.
Taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury...
I'm pretty sure vaccines haven't had mercury or aluminum in them for like 10, 15, 20 years. Like, what the fuck?
You know what aluminum is? Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were rumors about both of them.
You know, there are some doctors even going around saying, you need iron in your body. Who wants to eat a chunk of iron? Why would anyone do that? Some doctors are saying you need certain rocks in your body. What are you talking about? You need calcium? Calcium's a rock. Why would you need that? Why would you need any iron? You don't need iron. What does iron do? I've been wait a minute. I've been told iron's actually in your blood. Iron is what your blood is. It's just so fucking stupid. I've been told that iron does not belong in the human body. Is that correct? Well, the Amish don't need iron in their bodies.
Them for a long time.
No autism.
We're having them taken out. We're having them taken out of the vaccines. Hepatitis B, again, that's sexually transmitted. And we...
You shouldn't eat steel, chat. That's why I put tariffs on steel. Too many people were eating the steel. You gotta stop. We gotta stop eating steel, folks.
Isn't it ironic, don't you think? I couldn't help you. It's all your fault.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Stop the fucking steel. Oh my god. Hydrogen, folks, not even once, can blow you up very bad.
I think you should wait till 12. You know, I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from these doctors. Because
you know, I came up here and I came up here half-cocked. I didn't even really know what I was going to say, but, you know, this is all from me. This is not a doctor speaking. This is just me. All right? You know, yeah, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't do it.
I think you should wait till 12. You know, I'm just making these statements from me. I'm not making them from the...
Also, yeah, people get immunized for hepatitis B so that they don't get hepatitis B, because you can get it in a variety of different ways, man.
These doctors, because when they talk about, you know, different results, different studies, I talk about a lot of common sense, and they have that too. They have that too, a lot.
Look, you have all of your fancy big city learning, but I've got something you guys don't have, and that's common sense. That's right. You might think you guys can treat cancer with your fancy chemotherapies and your radiation. Well, have you thought about what if I just brought you to a guy downtown who could get you anything you want? Anything you want. Yep. We'll squirt some Windex on it, and it'll burn a little bit, and that'll take care of your cancer. It's all good. It's all fine.
But I recommend the hepatitis B. Take it at 12. Sexually transmitted. You don't have to give it to the baby when the baby's 2 years old. And there are a lot of theories on that, but not when they're 12. Doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The MMR and the chickenpox. Chickenpox has already been broken out. It's a singular shot, but the MMR is not. And I've heard for years that there's a problem with it.
God,
Notice how the kids are never framed as having any agency whatsoever, even when they're high functioning. It's always about the parents' discomfort.
No, it is framed through, like, oh, parents have to, like, live differently because they had a kind of child they didn't expect. It's very, very silly and stupid, you know? Also, just in case anyone's wondering about what he's saying, why are hepatitis B vaccines given to newborns? And boy howdy would I like to access this information. Give me 1 second. Thanks, Reuters. Incredible stuff.
Okay, my guy is worried about the Great Replacement, CK approved, and southern border. Latin America is 85% Christian. So worried about more Christians?
Yes. The conservative government in America right now is the most anti-Christian government that has ever existed in the United States history. Just to put it into perspective for folks, like, that's not hyperbole. They're trying to deport like 10 million Christians from this country because they consider them undesirable. And like, you might say, well, obviously they want to do that because they're not white, and like that's part of it. But like, they're also Christian. I think maybe I'm going to frame that more often in that term, in those terms, because I think it really takes a lot of conservatives aback because they're really on board with the Christian nationalism, and they don't really engage on that front. You know? Here we go. Why are hepatitis B vaccines given to newborns? Before widespread availability of the vaccine, transmission from mothers to babies during childbirth was the most common route of infection. In the US, before vaccines were available, roughly 85% of newborns became infected when mothers had active infections, as did approximately 30% of babies born to mothers with previous infections in whom the virus was inactive. Presently, 0.7 to 1.1% of infants born to such mothers develop infection after vaccination at birth, according to the CDC. Similar declines in infant HPV infections have been seen elsewhere with widespread vaccination of infants. As of 2020, the practice had been adopted by 190 of the 194 World Health Organization member countries, according to a 2022 CDC report. More than half of those countries provide it to all newborns immediately after birth, because it is something that can be prevented if they get the vaccine. Yeah, because sexual transmission isn't the only way to get, like, hepatitis B.
But they say that there's no problem if you do each shot separately, not put together. So
there's literally no evidence that shows that this is bad. Sorry.
MMR, go out and do it separately. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby after the baby's born. Every time the baby gets a shot, the baby gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years. Take Tylenol.
Dude, was he just unable to say Tylenol?
Gets a shot. They say, here, take a cup of Tylenol. I've heard that for years.
Take a cup of Tylenol. Dude, I'm telling you guys, he's Bidening hard. He is Bidening so fucking hard right now, it's crazy. Honestly, I think we need to start saying it more. And we need to start saying it in terms of like, he's Bidening. Yeah, he's at stage 9 Brandon. Soon he's gonna go into the next phase of dark Brandon. From there, it's only a matter of time.
Just take Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol. Don't have your baby take Tylenol. Now, Tylenol is fine for people that aren't pregnant, that aren't in the situation that we're talking about. One very specific situation. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it.
Holy shit. Who pointed out? Yeah, Jem, Dr. Fink looks like she's trying really hard not to say it. Dr. Fink does not... if looks could kill, she would be on a list with the Secret Service.
Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. Oh, you have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years.
I can't even make that face.
Break it up because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a nut.
It's too much liquid for the baby. Oh, God. The baby can't handle that much liquid. The fluids. There are too many fluids in that baby. I can't do it, Captain. I can't put more fluid in the baby.
The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines.
Beyond vaccines.
Then you give that to a little kid.
It's 80 vaccines and beyond vaccines. Oh my God, the Trump administration invented beyond vaccines? Oh my God, the next level of vaccines. We didn't even know. It all slipped out. That's crazy. Yeah, little known fact, Trump is actually quoting Toy Story here. The original line was not to infinity and beyond. It was actually to 80 vaccines and beyond. Like that was actually the original delivery, but woke Disney stepped in and changed the line.
I can tell you that I had a woman who worked for me, a beautiful, wonderful woman, worked in Trump Tower.
Oh boy.
And she had the most perfect child. Beautiful. Just perfect. And I remember
Bro, we've been trying to, like, imagine being on Donald Trump's PR team. Just like, man, we've told you so many times, you gotta stop talking. You gotta stop talking about children, man. You gotta stop talking about how beautiful the children are. You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
This little blonde-haired boy running around the lobby of Trump Tower, so healthy and so vibrant. And I said, that's great. One day I came in and she was crying her eyes out behind the counter. She worked at the front desk. She was crying her eyes out. I've never, as much as I've ever seen anyone distraught, she was. I said, are you okay? What happened?
I don't believe that for a second, by the way. I'm pretty sure guy who is found liable for rape in civil court might have seen women more distraught in his lifetime.
My boy, I've lost my boy. What does that mean, your boy? My boy, you know him, sir. You've seen him grow up. He was so beautiful. And I took him for a vaccine, sir. And he developed this unbelievable, I think she said 107, 108. You know, it goes well beyond when this happens. It goes up to 106, 107, 108. You know, we hear 105 and you're in trouble, but it just goes up to a level that you never hear about, but it goes up very.
He had a temperature of 307. It's crazy. I don't even know, but it's true.
High, and they get fried. She said, I took him, he got developed.
Oh, okay. See, wait, you took him to get vaccinated, and he got a high fever. If only he had access to some kind of fever reducer. You know, if only we had the technology for something like that. Some kind of, I don't know, like some kind of over-the-counter type of pill that could lower a fever, perhaps. But no, we don't have the technology for that. And if we did, it would probably give kids autism or something. Oh, wait a minute, we do. Oh, it's called Tylenol. Oh, and it doesn't give children autism. Oh, that's great.
An unbelievable temperature. And I've lost him, sir. He's gone. And then I saw the boy. It was so tragic to see.
What? Wait, so she came into work to tell you that her child died from the fever? And then you went and saw the child? Like you went to the, or is it like, or like when she says, when he says that she said she lost the child, is that just like, oh, her child was diagnosed with autism? Are we really being this explicit with what conservatives think of like autistic people?
That was the following day. After the vaccine. And I've seen it 2 other times, and I think 3 other times, but 2 other times, where they go to the doctor and they get the vaccine, they get the shot. The kid is, badly hurt. Let's be nice, badly hurt. And just do it. Break it up into 5, break it up into 4, break it up into 3 if you have to, but go to the doctor 4 times instead of once, or 5 times instead of once. And for some reason, they insist that you put it all into the body, and maybe that's the drug companies that make more money that way. Maybe it's the doctors because they don't want to be, doing this so much. Maybe it's the doctors. They get maybe more money. Who the hell knows what it is? Don't do it. Get them broken into 4 or 5.
They get more money if you come in multiple times, man. The pharmaceutical companies make more money if you come in more time. Come on. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, what the fuck, man? What could a doctor's visit cost, Michael? $5? It's insane. They are so rich and out of touch, this class of people, that they don't even understand how this works. God.
5 visits. Do it 4 or 5. That means you have 20%, 25% what you're putting into the baby's body. It can only help. And the other things I told you about, just
in case you all forgot, let's go over it all again. We'll start from the top.
The word tough it out. It's easy for me to say tough it out, but sometimes in life we're a lot.
I know it's a small thing, but the word tough it out, that's 3 words, man. That's 3 words. I'm so tired.
A lot of other things you have to tough it out also. Don't take Tylenol. Don't give Tylenol to the baby. When the baby's born, they throw it at you. Here, give them a couple of Tylenol. They give them a shot. They give them a vaccine. And every time they give them a vaccine, they're throwing Tylenol. And some of the...
Why? Who does this? Yo, you got a vaccine. Time to give you your Tylenol in liquid form so we can inject you with more fluids because we're evil doctors. Evil doctors. Fucking, this is fucking mental, man. Does he even know what Tylenol is? Hotspot, that is an excellent question. Does this man even know what Tylenol is? I genuinely, at this point, don't think he does. It's just insanity.
These babies, they're long born, and all of a sudden they're gone, and
they're long born. Hey, what are you doing out there, Scott? Is that a new skateboard I see? No, I'm long borning. I'm long borning. It's the hot new thing.
Doesn't hurt not to do it. It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MM.
Look, we stay here in this chat. We stand our short-born kings and our long-born kings, okay? Or queens, or monarchs.
Break it up. It's practical.
Did you see that? No.
It doesn't hurt. There's no downside. There's no downside at all. And break up MMR. Break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem.
What did I miss? RFK Jr. just turned and looked at someone off camera and smiled like Grandpa's bedtime.
There's no downside at all. And break up MMR. Break it up. It's practically a known fact that if you break it up, you're not going to have a problem. But for years, we've been hearing how bad MMR is as a combination. And I'm very happy that you broke out chickenpox because that was really a problem. And there are other things. It's interesting because there are other things, we were talking about it, other different drugs, pills that you take that we know are so bad and they don't take them anymore. But for some reason, with this, they keep taking it.
What problem is there with MMR? There is none. But in their minds, it's the Andrew Wakefield shit. Okay? Like,
what do they think happens to autistic kids when they grow up? Pisses me off that these are the people cutting programs they've never needed to survive.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the thing is, they don't think about autistic adults at all, right? So, to catch people up, in case folks aren't picking up what is being put down here, Andrew Wakefield originally started the anti-vax movement in order to break up vaccines that had been bundled together into multiple discrete vaccines because he had an investment in those multiple solo vaccine companies that he wanted to pay off, right? And so the entire anti-vax movement was an attempt by Andrew Wakefield to grift off of this, right? And there are similar people trying to grift off of MMR and breaking them apart into multiple single vaccination shots, right? And it's just the Andrew Wakefield thing again. It's just an expansion of the anti-vax, vaccines cause autism shit that they've been saying for like the last 30, 40 years, right? It's all just, they have financial investments in these solo shot companies. They want to make money off of the solo shots and see a return on their investment. And so they throw a press conference to encourage people to do solo shots and also to buy their folinic acid generic as opposed to going to a doctor and getting a prescription, right? Like that's what they're about. It's just all fucking grifting, And some of them do believe the grift, but like doesn't make it less of a grift.
Take Tylenol. There's no downside. Don't take it. You'll be uncomfortable. It won't be as easy, maybe, but don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. And don't give it to the baby after the baby is born. And we have more than 3 years left. And I told Bobby and the doctors behind me, and they are so committed to this, I told them that this is the number one thing I want to do from you. And we have something else called Favored Nations, where I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,000%. By 900, 600, 500, 1,200.
I'm sorry, you're going to be reducing prices by 1,000%? That's not how percents work. Like at 1,000% price reduction, you'd be paying us to take the drugs? Like what?
We're going to be reducing drug prices at levels never seen.
And this woman's lips are just disappearing by the minute.
It's called favored nations. We're going to be paying what right now, we're like the garbage can for the rest of the world, and we have been for forever. We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud of my first...
That's true. That's true, Jess Talks Books. He did bring down the price of cocaine. So wait a minute. We might need to hear him out. You know, maybe he will eventually get around to lowering the prices on, prescription drugs. But he started with cocaine.
Term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill. From $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or the fat, I call it the fat pill or the fat.
Dude, this is sundowning. I injections of Ozempic, or I call it the fat pill, the fat drug. Like, yes, Gmod ragdoll noise is all that is happening in that brain of his. It's so stupid.
Drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends, they're fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200.
I got some friends, they're still fat. They're still very fat. Like, dog, come on.
And they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about?
This is a story he's told before, and like, which of his rich friends is going to London and cares about whether or not they're spending $1,300 on Ozempic versus $88? If you're rich enough to be in Donald Trump's circle, you care about that price difference? It's functionally nothing to you.
We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly.
Yeah, genuinely, Catabingo Rising, that does sound like an Elon Musk story. Because
we have a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism. I see that gorgeous boy. I have a big present for him in the back. You bring him back. We're going to bring him into the Oval Office. I have the best present he's ever going to get, okay? A big one. I saved it for you, okay? Because I heard you were coming. Look how beautiful he is. So that's it. There's nothing much to say. Don't.
Like, wait, there was an autistic child sitting off camera the entire time? The entire time you were talking about kids like him being a scourge? Oh, that is gross. Yeah, that poor kid. Like, fuck.
Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and don't give Tylenol to your child when he's born or she's born. Don't give it. Just don't give it. And we're going to have, I think, really, if you do all the things that I say, break it up. Just break it up. Break up the shots with the doctor. MMRs, as I told you, separate. Chickenpox already separate. You do these things. I'm telling you, when I leave office, I don't want to have...
Uncle Donnie's secret present basement.
Yeah, Moth. Yeah. We cut back to Donald Trump's PR team. God damn it! He keeps talking about how beautiful the children are. Why? We've told him 1,000,000 times. Stop talking about the children and how they look.
Future parents eating this shit the regime is peddling are going to wonder why they have autistic kids after they do everything the charlatans told them to do.
I mean, yeah. Because, like, none of this is going to stop, like, children from being diagnosed with autism. Because I think what we're really discovering is that autism is just very prevalent. Like, we're autistic people are always going to be around, and a lot more people than previously expected are autistic.
the kind of number that we're hearing, where it's 1 in 32.
Also, Glitchy X6, thank you for the $25 dono. Very much appreciated. Thank you so goddamn much.
Or 1 in 10, because I've heard 1 in 10 also. And in California, it's really bad. I want it to be,
Dr. Fink has literally been baring her teeth like for the last 5 minutes.
Get it back to maybe 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 20,000 or maybe none in 20,000. And the only way you're going to do that, because this is artificially induced. This is induced by something. You don't go from 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 10,000, then to 1 in 10. That means you're taking something and something's wrong. And I feel very certain, and I know I'll be criticized. Someday they'll look back and they'll say, well, it wasn't, but I think it will. I think we're going to have a tremendous, this is the most important thing. There's nothing more important than me. We cured inflation that Biden gave us. He gave us.
We cured the inflation, folks. Yeah, good night, Ashley. Get good sleep.
So much inflation, the biggest ever in history. We got inflation done. We brought prices down. We gave you the largest tax cuts. All that stuff. It doesn't mean a thing compared to what we're doing today. This means everything.
No, the stream isn't done.
So we're going to save a lot of children from a tough life, really tough life. We're going to save a lot of parents from a tough life. Okay, how about a few?
Yeah, that, again, we're going to save a lot of parents from a really tough life. Like, I'm sorry, don't have children if, like, you can't handle the idea of, like, taking care of children. Like, I don't understand this.
Questions. Let's just make it on this subject. This is so beyond as a subject that I'd rather not talk about, some nonsense on the economy. And I will say this.
You brought it up. My brother in Christ, you brought up the economy. You did that. This is so big, I would rather not talk about the economy. You just spent the last, 3 minutes talking about it, bud. Why? You made that choice. Oh, God. I can't. I can't. It's so stupid. It is stupidity unending. Yeah, the confused cat. That is definitely the image of the moment, for sure, Banana Brains. Jesus. So, that is the end of this segment about autism. But he does take questions here, and I'm not going to do that to all y'all. But that's just absolutely insane. I'm a dad to an autistic toddler, and I'm really not handling hearing my kid being dehumanized by these guys very well. No, it's disgusting, right? Ultimately, they don't value people like us in society, ultimately... I'm on the spectrum. I know a bunch of people who are on the spectrum, and they don't believe that autistic people are as human as they are. They do not believe that they view us as a problem to be fixed. And you heard that mom, they don't even think that the spectrum of autism is real, It is infuriating. And I have to laugh because otherwise I get too blisteringly angry and upset. This is what a supremacist ideology does. And the fact that it has garnered so much support in our country is really, really disturbing. And we need to be able to do something about this. And I think the only way out is, again, we need to organize. You need to organize your local community. In order to, whenever this body is trying to impose upon all of us absurd new restrictions or regulations in order to back up their anti-vax eugenicist worldviews, we need to be able to answer that in our local towns and cities.
This bullshit is why I'm running. I'll be the first openly autistic person in Congress.
Oh, hell yeah, Andromeda Archives. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And also, thank you for running. Let us know when your first campaign event is, and we'll I'll help boost it. That's cool as hell. Makes me so it makes me scared, but it makes me want to defend even more marginalized communities, even more. Yeah, no, it's I think we have a duty to organize against these people because they're coming to impose this bullshit worldview that they have no evidence for upon all of us. And so you need to organize in your communities. You need to organize in your towns and your cities You need to organize with like-minded folks, and you need to be able to express your viewpoints in a politically effective way that can influence your local politics and get new laws and legislation passed. We gotta do it not just for ourselves, but also for the people we love. We gotta do that. We gotta act in love with one another. And these people do not view us as people. And so we must fight with everything we got. So organize with your local library or your local LGBTQ groups, your local, your local DSA, your local Dems. If you want help joining your local DSA, join our Discord and reach out to GamerG or in the DSA channel. And if you want to organize with your local Dems, join our Discord and reach out to Dragonfly in the Discord. Dragonfly and GamerG will help you get connected with those respective organizations. Really important, but you can, in fact, start organizing your spaces, and we must if we want to be prepared and we want to be safe when the hammer of this administration really, truly drops. So, with that being said, let's move on.
Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Viva